You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in to the Outspoken Sportscast. Here we got your hosts Brian and Craig. Craig, how you doing?
Another day, brother.
Another day.
Another week is finally over.
And what a week it's been.
You ain't lying.
We could get into that on the what's in our locker segment, but it is a Friday edition. Jeff will not be on. He's got some plans. He's a little busy this weekend and maybe next weekend as well. But episode 140, we got the NFC playoff edition. We're gonna give you last Friday. We gave you the AFC bracket. We all had the Bills going to the Super Bowl. We feel strongly about the Bills. We're gonna give you the NFC in the spotlight of the week this week, and then of course we got your headlines of the week. We got some wide receiver hold-ins. We got a contract for DJ Metcalf. We got some injuries already in NFL. We got a Major League Baseball injury, and much, much more, guys, right after this. All right, guys, welcome back in. It's the Outspoken Sportscast here. Let's jump into it. A couple weeks ago, we gave you our division winners for each division. Last week was the AFC bracket. This week is the NFC bracket, and so we're going to give you our top 7 teams and go through the brackets we chose. Now, my number 1 team, Craig, I had the Rams. It's hard not to put them there.
Are we going top to bottom tonight? Okay.
Oh, did I screw that up? I didn't even think about it. All right, sorry. My bad. Let's back up here. Let's go 7-1. You know, number 1's the Rams for me. My bad. Surprise! I didn't even think about it. I just saw number 1 and went there. All right, number 7. My bad. And this. To me, the 4 division winners was pretty easy. And the 3 or the 3 I cannot talk tonight, Craig. I cannot talk. The 3 wild cards were hard to pick. Hard to pick because I was like,
way harder than the AFC. Way harder.
A bunch of trash. I mean, it looks like a bunch of trash. So my number 7 team is the Saints. The Saints. And I feel like they're going to be second in the division. They got a really good defense. Can Jameis Winston stay healthy? When he was staying healthy last year, he played pretty good. He cut down on the interceptions. I just think that defense will be good enough to get them in the second spot in the division and get them the 7th seed as a playoff berth. I may be wishing a lot there, but I didn't really see much more from anybody else to put there at number 7. Who's your number 7 there, Craig?
I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to pick the Commanders.
Okay.
Because I think their defense is good enough to hold them in football games. And I think Carson Wentz, with the speed that he has around him, can throw the football down the field. They have a better offensive line. They have some tools. And I really kind of think that division is going to be in shambles. And so I'm going to go with Washington because I just don't think with the loss, now this is all stating with Kamara facing the suspension and he's going to miss multiple games, I think. We don't know what Michael Thomas is going to be after taking a whole year off. Do you ever just really fully trust Jameis? I can't.
Yeah, it's tough for me to do that, to put him there.
So I think that the division for the Saints is a lot tougher than for what the Commanders are going to face. I think you're going to get beat by Tampa a couple times. I don't know if Carolina's going to do anything, and everything like that. So I just think that the East is going to be a little bit easier to navigate than I do that brutal division that they're in.
Well, I have an East guy at number 6. I got the Eagles at number 6. I think they're the second best team in your division. They are the second most talented team in your division. My biggest concern is their quarterback. I'm not a big believer in him. I'm not a big believer in Wentz either. I think they do enough to sneak into the playoffs, and they're second in the division. I had the Cowboys winning that division. The Eagles are too talented. A lot of them have some of these guys are overrating the Eagles big time. They are up there, and I don't think they're going to be fantastic, but I think they'll get enough done in an easier division to make the wild card. So, who's your number 6?
I just couldn't trust the quarterback enough. Hurts. I mean, he's too up and down, and it just doesn't have really the support of the team and everything like that. I went with Minnesota. I think Kirk Cousins is trying to get another payday. He's going to come out and, with Justin Jefferson and Thielen, throw the ball all around the yard. And you put the running back in Dalvin Cook and keep him healthy. And I just think that team is with the new head coach. They got a really good defense, and I think that they can make some noise as long as everybody stays healthy. They really haven't, other than Dalvin Cook, they haven't had a lot of injuries, and they've won some football games. And I just think Minnesota can really make some noise because these guys are trying to play for to be either kept in Minnesota or to go play for their new team and kind of like a tryout, show, a prove it show, prove it league or prove it season. So I just think that they are going to do some damage. I still think Green Bay wins the division, but I think Minnesota has enough to finish second.
Sorry, something popped on my screen. It was weird. Well, I agree with you, but I have Minnesota number 5. I think looking at the teams, I think they're the best team that's fit for a wild card spot, are the best wild card team. Let me rephrase that, because I think Green Bay wins the division as well. We usually run away with that division and own it pretty good. I got Minnesota at number 5. I had a hard time picking these, and I just thought Vikings and Eagles both are probably the most talented rosters. Kirk Cousins is better than Hurts, and they have that offensive power to go around him. They got a new offensive-minded head coach. I think the Vikings could be scary this season if the new coach lights a fire and they're offensive-minded. I'm just not buying in all the way to have them win the division or anything. So I got to give them the number 5 spot there. Who I'm interested to see who you have as your number 1 wild card team there.
I probably should have flipped these two. But Arizona, I just think with the San Francisco 49ers getting rid of not getting rid of, but being out on Garoppolo and going all in on Trey Lance, that changes that team. I don't think that kid's ready. I don't think that kid's going to be the answer in San Francisco. I don't think he runs the offense of Shanahan. I don't think that's the right guy to fit that offense. You need a kid with a little more mobility, and Garoppolo gives you that. He has a little bit stronger arm. He can make the throws, and I just don't think Trey Lance is the answer. So I think that makes that division easier. And even with the loss of Hopkins for 6 games, I still think Arizona, talent-wise, especially defensively, has enough to survive and win enough football games to be better than the teams in the East and be better than the teams behind Minnesota and everything like that. So I think that is by default. Like I said, the Kyler Murray, that guy doesn't impress me. But I just think with the way the West has shaken out, the West has gotten worse. The Bears and the Lions are not ready to make that jump yet. The Lions are probably a year out. If they can, I'm not sold that Goff's the answer.
2 years out,
and maybe if they draft a quarterback and then he has to learn the offense, and hopefully they give this coach more than a year or two. They've been switching head coaches like you switch T-shirts, and so if you can get some continuity in there and allow these guys they appear to want to run through the wall for him and play in Detroit. So let him see if his system works, and let him get these guys deal, and let him get his own quarterback. He was kind of forced with the Goff thing. And so I just think by default, Arizona, Minnesota, and the Commanders are going to be your 3.
No, I didn't forget about Arizona, but I just started looking and I was like, they're a decent team. They're a good team. I'm not a big believer in Kyle Murray. There's been a lot of drama in the offseason. There's been a lot of drama last season. And the Saints have an easy division besides Tampa Bay. Are they going to be able to win enough there and beat up on them enough to win? And I think when you talk about Trey Lance and the 49ers, it's interesting that they're going to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, who I mean, he still hasn't been traded anywhere yet, but I think their coach is good enough to win games against the division, to get Trey Lance where he needs to be. His game plan will be good enough. Their defense is still good enough. They're going to rely heavily on the run game, rely heavily on Deebo Samuel if he plays.
If he plays, that's another thing.
Big
I
thing.
can't go and pick the 49ers if I don't know who's going to be there.
I'm not saying
receiver who's not playing right now. You got your best quarterback. He's being benched. I mean, they're just making some questionable decisions in San Francisco.
Yeah, well, I didn't put the 49ers in the playoffs. I didn't put the Arizona Cardinals in the playoffs. I just think they'll do enough in that division to probably split with Arizona. Rams probably sweep Arizona. Maybe that's a tough one, but I just think
depends on when they play him. If they play him after Hopkins comes back, I can see it being a tougher game. If they catch him both times with Hopkins being out, then I think that's a fair assessment.
Well, and also Arizona and Cliff Kingsbury and Kyle Murray all are known for kind of falling apart at the end of the season anyways. So depends on, the late season games when it really matters there at the division. So.
Actually, I think it helps them this year with Hopkins missing the first 6. He's fresh coming off the thing. So maybe on the back end of the season, he comes out and gives them the spark they need. Maybe it goes reverse this year instead of the way it went last year. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. There's always those random teams that make it. That you have everywhere.
You always got 2 in, 2 out type deal, and I didn't go look at it that closely to do that to go 2 in, 2 out. But I think the only spot that I'm not 100% confident in is the Commanders. That thing can go south in a hurry with ownership being as up and down as it is, and the turmoil in the front office and everything to that effect. So that I could see where the Eagles could very easily flip flop with them.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel pretty good about it.
The Saints are my one that I'm like, that could be hit or miss.
100%.
I feel comfortable with
Winston.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
but all right. Well, my number 4 team is the Dallas Cowboys. I know they're going to win their division almost by default. It's a pretty easy division. You have some question marks. You have some strengths for Dallas with their young core there on defense, and you got. That's like I said, Dak Prescott's got to prove it this season. I'm not sure if your running back's your answer, but we talked about it on Tuesday. The question of the week was, will CeeDee Lamb step up? Is he ready enough? And maybe he is, but they're good enough. They're good enough to make the playoffs and win their division. I don't know how far they're going to get in the playoffs. It's always been the question mark with the Dallas Cowboys is how far can they get past that next level. They'll probably go, I think, 11-6, 12-5 again, somewhere around that range, win their division. But it all comes down to the playoffs. We all know that. Green Bay has been 13-3, 13-4 the last 3 seasons. Couldn't put it together in playoffs. Then it kind of really doesn't matter. But Cowboys at number 4. Not much else to say there. I know you have Dallas winning your division as well, but where is your number 4 team at? Who do you got number 4?
I'm with you in Dallas. I can't. They're good enough to win the East, but they're not. I can't put them above Tampa, Green Bay, or the Rams. So those 3 are clearly, a game or 2 better than Dallas, and like I said, Tampa gets almost 6 free wins.
Yeah.
And so does the Rams. I see the Rams get 5 at least. So
Brady, it's funny because Brady got that New England. He got 6 wins a year, just about.
And that's
from
what
the
I'm saying.
division, and now he gets it again. It's frustrating.
I can't fault Brady's career. He's very good. He's won football games when they counted, but he got a lot of free wins in his career too. Of that division was just. Have you ever heard of a division just being horrible, top to bottom, underneath one team for a decade? And that's exactly what happened. Is for a decade straight, they were basically guaranteed 5 wins, 6 most years, and a free playoff spot. Well, when you make the playoffs, anything can happen. So, and a lot of years it did. So yeah, can Dallas go in and make the tournament and surprise everybody? They could. I can't put them above the 3 teams that I got above them, and so they're 4, and that they're not going to go higher, they're not going to go lower because they win the division. So
we both agree on that one. We both agree. Number 3, I have the Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers win their division. We usually win our division every year, and it's just how far can we get? We've been the number 1 team in the last 2 years. It's really done us no favors after coming off a bye. We suck after coming off a bye. I'm interested to see what this defense can do. I think we will own the division. The Vikings will probably split with. The Lions might split with us. They tend to fight us pretty good. We should sweep the Bears. And our division, our schedule seems to be pretty tough this year, but it was tough last year. We went 13-4. I think with Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, who it was quiet. We re-signed Matt LaFleur, and we extended our GM Brian Gutekunst, which I find fantastic moves on both. But Packers I have at number 3. I couldn't put them above my other 2 division winners, which were the Bucs and the Rams. I got them at 3. Who do you have at number 3?
With some news that came out this week, I have Tampa at 3. I don't like Tom does not do well with guys in his face. And when you have a key part of your guys that are in front of you out for a lengthy period of time, which we will talk about here in headlines, I think that could be very detrimental to that deal, because last year, if you remember, in the playoffs, Jensen went out and went out for I don't know, a series or two. And during that series or two, they got to Brady and the team they were playing almost came back and won that football game, and he had to come back into the game, and he had a couple bad snaps. The backup had a couple bad snaps, had a couple sacks, and Brady was rattled and frustrated and completely overwhelmed. They ended up holding on, but boy, it got real sketchy for a while. And I think with the loss of that offensive line, if they don't have somebody stronger to back him up than they did last year, I think that can lose them some football games that I thought they should win before that news came out. So I still think they win the division because it's just absolutely trash underneath them.
Yeah,
but
trash.
I believe that Green Bay has enough to overtake them for a 2 seed.
Yeah, I dropped Green Bay to number 3. They've been number 1 the last 2 years, but I feel like I think we will probably go 11-6 this season, 12-5 type of thing. But number 2, I got the Bucks. Tom Brady, 6 wins in the division. They bring him back basically the same team. They added Julio Jones, who I said and with this team can be dangerous as a number 3 or 4 option. They got a new head coach, defensive minded. Tom Brady will worry about the offense. They're going to be one of the teams to beat. And I got them at number 2. I think talent wise and 6 guaranteed wins is going to help them take over the number 2 spot. Who do you have at number 2, Craig?
Green Bay. I can't put them at 1. The Rams are until the Rams show me differently. They made some moves this year to hold their thing. I love McVay's offense and just he's a genius and the schemes he comes up with, and Stafford's on a roll out there, and I think he continues to be on a roll even with the loss of Beckham. I think Cooper Kupp has another phenomenal football season, and I just think the Rams are too tough. Green Bay, I think because of what happened in Tampa, I think that'll be a down to the last week or two for 2 and 3. But I think I'm going to give it to Green Bay.
Well, it puts us both with the Rams at number 1. I don't think we need to say much. They got a great defense. They got better on offense with Allen Robinson from Chicago. He's better and younger than Odell Beckham. If they bring Odell back, that's just adding fire to the power, to the fire, whatever you want to say. And that's kind of an easy pick, I think. And I said it last year in the playoffs. Matthew Stafford will cost you the playoffs because he'll throw
and
a bad play.
And he almost did.
He should have, but the guy didn't catch it. Yeah. So I like Stafford. I think he's got a great arm, but I'm not a believer that they're gonna go. Oh, Jeff, what's up, brother? I'm a believer in the Rams. I'm just sometimes Stafford can cost you that game, and I just think we'll see if that happens this year. But
we'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's go to the bracket. Go ahead.
I still think that they're good enough to be the 1.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, the Rams get the bye for both of us. I have the Bucks at number 2 versus number 7 Saints, and I think it's a pretty easy one. The Bucks will take this victory over the Saints and move on. I don't think there's much need clarification there.
Yeah,
Jameis Winston's not reliable.
The Bucks roll the Commanders, and I think that's an easy deal. Yeah.
Jeff is on. He says Rodgers can cost you a game too. He definitely does, and he's cost us quite a bit of playoff games. I haven't seen Kat yet this evening. We started a little earlier, so we'll see if she jumps on a little bit. Number 3, the Packers versus the Eagles. And this matchup is a Packer victory, in my opinion. Every time we play the Eagles, though, something bad happens, it seems like. The last time we played the Eagles in the playoffs, Brett Favre was playing. All we had to do was stop a 4th and 28, and we win the game. Eagles get the 4th and 28, go down. They win the ball game. We lose in the playoffs. I was like, what? How do we not stop that? I got the Packers winning this one, though. They're the better team. I don't trust Hurts. I barely trust them enough to get them to the 6th seed. They're talented, though. They have talent on both sides of the football. The team seems to be playing with that chip on their shoulder this season. So we'll see what happens with the Eagles. But I got Packers moving on after facing the Eagles.
So I think I said Tampa earlier. I actually have the Packers as the 2. So the Packers will beat Washington, and then Tampa will play Minnesota, and I think they can beat them. But I mean, a divisional, you're not divisional, but a conference game in the playoffs like this, I still think Tampa has enough, and hopefully by then they get their offensive line back together, and so you got Tampa beating the Vikings, but it could be a closer game than deal.
Jeff jumped on. We were talking about the Eagles just a second ago, and he says, I've read some first take guys have picked the Eagles as the better team in the division, and some guys have. Some guys, there's a lot of guys that are really popular on the Eagles this season because of the moves they made. They've had a really good draft. They got a really good wide receiver, and if Hurts can have his guys, if Hurts can play better,
I think that's going to be the question. Is Jalen Hurts is the absolute wild card in that team? If he performs to a playoff mode, then they could win the East and really upset things. But if he goes and makes the mistakes he's made the last several years, then they just don't have enough to overcome it.
Exactly, and the quarterback position obviously is a big role. And it's going to play a lot of factors in if you win or lose football games. Last year, Hurts to me looked bad. He did not look good. We need to see him make some progressions. We need to see him make that jump. And I don't know if he has it in him. He doesn't throw the ball particularly well. He does run around a lot. I think he throws it better than Lamar Jackson, but he doesn't run as good as Lamar Jackson. I think the Eagles are a better team than last year, and I do think they will be better. On the defensive side, I think they've gotten better, and on the offensive side. So it really depends. And I hear that the team is rallied around Hurts, and they really like his leadership. And
the locker room loves him, but
it just depends on his play on the field.
The eye test, he's never passed.
The eye test has never been good. You're exactly right. And so the Eagles, Jeff, will be better. I think their defense will be better, and there's a way that they could win the division, but I don't think that happens. The Dallas Cowboys are the more talented football team, so we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. It's an interesting watch to see that division because we think it's an easy win for the Dallas Cowboys, but sometimes they don't make it look.
But then again, there hasn't been back-to-back division winners in like 3,000 years in the NFC. So
if the Cowboys don't win their division, Coach McCarthy is definitely gone. I guarantee you that. Jerry Jones, Judge has got his 40th home run. Yeah, he walked it off last night at number 39. But sorry, Jeff's throwing some history out there.
Yeah, what's his name from the Rangers?
What? Seager?
The other outfielder the Yankees just took.
Gallo?
Gallo's got 40 hits, 37 hits. So,
yeah,
that's awesome.
All right, well, number 4, I got the Cowboys versus the Vikings, and this one was tough because I do think the Vikings will be better this year, like I just talked about. I did pick Dallas to move on to the next round. I think Kirk Cousins in prime time doesn't play very well.
No.
I'm not too sure that Thielen stays healthy this season. He's been injured in the past. I mean, he was injured a lot last season, and I think it all depends on this Vikings is how Kirk Cousins plays, and if this new head coach is really offensive minded and they really buy into his process and his schemes. And this team, Minnesota Vikings, have always had talent. They've never put it together. So we'll see. But I got Dallas
Had
moving
some
on.
injuries at the wrong time, and they had the miracle,
Oh
against the
gosh,
Saints.
terrible,
So they've won some games they shouldn't have. They've lost some games they should have. I got Dallas and Arizona, and I just flip a coin. You got two of the same teams. I don't know if Arizona can stop the run as well. I don't know what kind of chemistry Hopkins and does Kyler Murray try to come out and be a hero this season because of all the offseason deal? Does he try to do too much? Does he have an MVP season to try to prove the world wrong? I think Dallas can beat them only because I believe that game will be in Dallas. I give Dallas the slight edge there, but if you told me Arizona would beat them and Mike McCarthy would be fired, I could not. I'm not going to fight you too much on it either. So,
You picking Dallas?
I am right now, but I have two pathways this season goes. The season goes where they win the East, and the season goes where they go 6-11, and McCarthy's fired in mid-season. So after the first 3 weeks, I'll be able to tell you which way the season's going to go.
All right, well, that moves us on to. I got the Rams versus. Actually, I got that backwards. It's actually Rams versus Dallas.
Yeah.
I had. I don't know why I put the versus Packers here. I got Rams versus Dallas, and that's easy in my opinion. I picked the Rams to win that one.
Yeah, that's where Dallas's magical road will come to an end. Stafford carved him up when he was in Detroit. He'll carve him up when he's in the Rams because he's got a better offense than he had in Detroit. And I don't know. I just think, that's just offense against defense, and it doesn't. I just don't see a way Dallas can beat them. It's going to be in LA. It's going to be trying to defend a title. It's just going to be Dallas can't. Unless just a miracle happens, but I think Dallas road ends there, and the Rams move on.
All right, I had to flip it up. I had the numbers wrong there. So I have the Bucks versus the Packers, the 2 versus the 3. And this is tough because we should have beat them 2 years ago. We're down Devontae Adams. It's really going to depend on how our offense goes, how well we're rolling on the offensive side. I think the defense is actually better for us this season. We're playing the Bucks. Their defense is great. How much is the injury going to affect Bucks? With the offensive line, is the guy back? Is it season ending? We don't know.
They said right now 2 months, and they'll reevaluate it after 2 months.
I think that's best case scenario. I think it's
so too.
More of all
I think they
season.
just don't want to. I think they just don't want to tell the NFL right now that he's gone for the season.
Sorry, I had a list and I messed up on the numbers, so now I got to rethink my thing. I could go either way. I think it's a coin flip. I could go Tom Brady in the playoffs. I could go Packers. I'm going to go with the Bucks, though. I think when you're going Tom Brady in the playoffs, it's hard to go against him. It's just I think it's going to rely on the Bucks and their health this season. But I got the Bucks moving on. It's going to be in Tampa Bay if it falls the way I'm thinking that I'm predicting.
See, I have it the other way, and I think because I have it the other way, I'm going to go with Green Bay because we're going to play in Lambeau in December and January, and Tommy doesn't like cold. He played New England, but he just
not at this age though. He did.
not at this age. And I think you're exactly right. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the back side of it. They're trying to get the old guys to do one more run. They're trying to get the band back together for one more run. and I think Father Time could really, really derail the season. They've already got this injury with the offensive line. Julio Jones, I see a deal the other day that it shows Brady and Jones and said these guys are going to tear the league up for 2 games because that's what all they're going to play together.
Yeah.
Because Julio had injuries all last year. I just think, and God forbid if Brady has an injury, that could change
it's all
the
gone.
whole thing.
I mean, it's gone.
I like Green Bay in the cold in the deal and Rodgers double revenge tour. I think I got Tampa and the Rams in the NFC Championship.
I knew if I picked Green Bay, though, all I'd hear at work next week is, "You're such a homer, Brian. Can't believe you predict Green Bay to win." So that's another reason I didn't want to pick the freaking Packers, because I'd have to hear from you buffoons at work there. But all right, well, I got the Rams versus the Bucks.
I'm already rubbing off. I called you a homer for 2 weeks in a row, and you jumped off the bandwagon like it was on fire, rolling down the hill.
Well, it's all going to depend. Well, it's Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, and I get it. We don't win in Lambeau Field much. I mean, in the playoffs, which is stupid. But I have the Rams at number 1 versus the Bucks at number 2 in the NFC Championship game. We have Tom Brady versus Matthew Stafford. 2 great defenses, 2 great offenses. If all goes well for both teams and injuries wise, I got Tom Brady. I got Tom Brady winning this one. I don't want to say it because I hate Tom Brady. I just think, like I said, Matthew Stafford's going to cost you some games. He should have cost you the 49er game last year. It didn't happen. They shouldn't have won. Well, they shouldn't have. They were very close to losing the Super Bowl. I think in this game, he throws a couple picks. It cost him this chance to go back-to-back. I got the Bucks winning this one with a great defensive pressure on Matthew Stafford, and Tom Brady does enough to get on by to win the NFC Championship. So I have the Bucks versus the Bills Super Bowl.
I got the Rams beating Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship because it's in LA.
Because that's
and
that's what we do. We're 0-5 in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, and I just think the Rams defensively can shut down the Packers. I mean, I'm getting the Packers to the NFC Championship game with losing their best receiver. So I'm not. I really think that's going to hurt him. I really think that's going to hurt their offense. But I like that guy that is their head coach, and I like the way he comes up with schemes and plays, and I trust the 2-time MVP to try to make things happen. So that's why I'm getting him as far as the NFC Championship. But the Rams defense with Jalen Ramsey and those guys off the end, I think they do enough offensively to beat Green Bay in. They don't have to play in the cold. They don't have to deal with Lambeau. They don't have to deal with 150,000 people screaming. They do, but it's going to be their guys screaming. So I think that's why they won the Super Bowl, is because it was in their stadium and the people and the fans and the noise and I just think the pass rush gets the deal, and I have the Rams moving on.
So you have Rams versus Bills Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
I could see it both ways. Should we go ahead and give our Super Bowl winners? Or do you want to wait till next week? I mean, there's not much to give. I mean, who do you have?
I'm good with it.
Who do you have? Who do you have win the Super Bowl?
I have Buffalo beating the Rams. I just think that this is, barring a cataclysmic injury to one of the big stars in Buffalo. I think Josh Allen has got a chip on his shoulder. I think he is on the double revenge tour. I think he is going to have the season of his lifetime. I think he may be the front runner for MVP right now. And if everything comes the way I think it's going to come, I don't think the Bills, I think they finally get off the snide, and finally, after all these years of going 5 years in a row and losing 5 in a row, and the having the lead with 8 seconds left last year and letting up a Travis Kelce wide open slant down the middle of the field, and I mean, things like this just continue to happen to this team. They just find ways to lose games in the playoffs. You know, you got the Music City Miracle where the guys are tossing the ball across the field, and
my gosh,
Dyson's running down the sideline, and they're like, "There's no flag." I mean, I've seen this team lose. I mean, that game they were up 40 points at halftime and came back and lost to a backup quarterback in Frank Reich. I just think so many things have happened to that football team that it's time for them to finally get one.
Well, I got Bills and Bucks. Where's the Super Bowl at this year? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, but I could get it off the top of my head.
What? Oh, I mean off Google. Look, the Bills versus Bucks. You got two good defenses. You got two good quarterbacks. I have to go with the Bills too. I think Revenge Tour is full fledged this season, barring any injury there to I cannot think of names today.
Arizona.
Interesting. Bills. What is the Bills quarterback? What's his name? I am horrible tonight. Josh Allen. Thank you. I am horrible.
I mean, I just told you like 14 times when I was talking.
Horrible with names tonight. Anyways, Josh Allen's going to go ham. I think he wins this
Ham
season.
banana.
I think he's going to go ham. I think he wins the Super Bowl this year for the Buffalo Bills, and it'll be like it'll be just as almost as big as Chicago Cubs winning the World Series, getting that monkey off.
Oh, absolutely.
And getting this team. He will
People
have
be climbing light poles, and
he'll have a
the
statue.
city of Buffalo will be on fire for years.
He'll have a statue up built, already planned, and I just really like this.
It's probably already built. They just got to put it out there once he wins.
Yeah, I like this quarterback. I think he's got a lot of. First of all, he's got a lot of talent, a lot of heart. He's willing to do the hard things, willing to run you over, willing to get himself dirty, and he's the ultimate teammate. Seems like, and the city loves him. And I just think he's going to get the job done. And old Tom Brady. Not luck, but his old self wears out a little bit at the end of the season, and then the young gun there takes it over and wins the Super Bowl. So we both have the Bills winning the Super Bowl this season. I don't know what Jeff's was. If Jeff's had the Bills going to the Super Bowl, he probably has the Bills winning it too. But so that is our predictions this season. We gave you the AFC and the NFC. We'll check back at the end of the year and kind of when the playoffs hit and see where we're at on the division. So say what you have there, Craig and Jeff, because we'll look back on it and it's going to be interesting to see how close we are or how far we are from what really happens.
Tell us how wrong we were.
Yeah, that's what happens a lot. It happens a lot. All right, guys. Yeah, we are going to give you and jump into the headlines of the week. All right, guys, a couple different headlines for you. Jeff kind of gave us one earlier. Judge has just hit his 40th home run, which is fantastic. I mean, this guy's on fire for the Yankees, and if you're a Yankees fan, that's fantastic. But I like to see how close they can get to the home run record. So it's something to watch out for on the back half of the season,
especially in that ballpark.
Aaron Judge, yeah, and that little league ballpark they play in out there. Headlines of the week. This one keeps getting the Cardinals keep just in the headlines, and it's not for the good stuff. Arizona Cardinals took out the clause that said Murray had to study at least 4 hours of film. They thought that they changed it because they said it was a distraction because a lot of people took it differently than how they meant it. I'm like, how did you mean this? How did you think this was going to come off? And then you got Kyler Murray over here, pounding his chest at the podium. I went 43-0 in high school. So what? I went this in college. Nobody cares. You're in the NFL. We don't care what you did in high school. We don't care. He's even quoted, Craig. They played it on 105.3 The Fan. Quoted to saying, I'm talented enough just to show up. I'm not going to kill myself by studying film. Studying so much film. So you can't sit out here and say, I'm prepared. I've studied film. Your quote is saying this. The team has questions. The team is you've both had a very publicly ugly fight in public. The teams released out stuff. This got released. The Arizona comes out and says they've got so much trust in Kyle. But this whole offseason has been a debacle between you and your quarterback. Everything you've said has been, you called him immature. You said he doesn't work hard. He is selfish. And now you're coming out and go, we got all the trust in the world. The PR on this is just terrible. Garbage. I mean, was it the right thing to take out the clause? Probably. Was it the right thing to even put it in there? Probably not. They shouldn't have even stuck this thing in there. Kyle Murray, he signed the contract. I don't know if he said, hey, guys, behind the scenes, take it out of the contract or what. But now he's up there having to defend himself, he thinks. I just think the whole thing is laughable when it comes to Arizona and this whole debacle of a random clause they put in. It makes it look like the quarterback doesn't study film and he's not a great team player and he refused to go in a football game last year. All these things add up. And I don't know about you, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And I truly believe that. And there's been smoke of this team all off season. And the public fight they've had, I'm not buying that they've all of a sudden just both really like each other. Just like with the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Did I believe every story that came out? No. But where there's smoke, there's fire. I did believe there's a lot of stuff there that they had problems with. I do believe the same here between Kyle Murray and Arizona.
I almost wonder if this isn't just all thrown out there to draw headlines and make people look in the Arizona camp and the bottom line is if they put it in there, it shouldn't have been. Whoever brought it to public, whether it was Murray's guys, whether it was Cliff Kingsbury, whether it was the owner of the Arizona Cardinals, whoever let this thing out, either they told the reporter under secrecy thinking they were off the record or whatever. But once it came out, there was no way that they could get around not pulling it out. It just took off like a bonfire and just absolutely just took over every headline of the day on every sports show. You got guys that are saying Kyler doesn't deserve this money. He never deserved this money. Why are you paying him? Why are you putting stipulations in? Kyler Murray wants to go react his whole career and say he won the Heisman and never lost in high school football and won all these football games and blah, 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 and has more talent in his pinky finger and can win football games without looking at a deal, but then turns around and says he's a student of the game. And for us to call him not a student of the game is just an absolute slap to his face. So I think Kyler needs to review what he's saying before he goes out and says it, because I don't think he knows what he's talking about. The bottom line is Kingsbury better get a lot out of him, or he's going to be on the unemployment line in a real hurry, because I believe he's kind of made his bed there by the way he finished last season. I believe this is a Cliff Kingsbury prove it year. If he doesn't prove himself to win some football games and get the most out of Kyler Murray, I think the Arizona Cardinals will move on in a fast fashion from Cliff Kingsbury. I've never been a Cliff Kingsbury fan. His teams are all run and show. I'm going to score 1,000 points, but I'm going to let up 1,005 because I can't play a lick of defense. So all the times, that anytime anything bad defensively happens, he's pointing at the defensive coordinator. Well, you're the head coach. Fix it. If that guy's not getting it done, find somebody who will, because you can't just keep letting up 6,000 points a week. They went out and got Watt. They went out and made some changes to try to help that defense. They did a little bit last.
They lost Chandler Jones.
Yeah, and Watt's known to get hurt. I love J.J. Watt. I love what he does for the game. I love what he does outside the game, paying for people's funerals and paying for this and paying for that and helping people out and having little fake weddings with the kids and the guy's a class act. But on the football field, he hasn't played more than about 6 games in a year, and those were the 6 that they won last year. So anyhow, I just think it's a publicity stunt. I think they're trying to look at this hand, don't look at this hand over here, and I think they had to take it out once it took off like a wildfire, so they had no choice.
And nothing in Kingsbury's college career ever said, "Hey, I want him to coach in the NFL one day." Like, nothing. He's known for blowing leads. He's known for losing at the end of the seasons. So I thought it was kind of weird that he went from college to the NFL, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know about this." But we did an episode about who has the most pressure on him, right? This is before all the Arizona Cardinals stuff came out. I think this team right here, Arizona, has the most pressure on them to come out and win and show that this stuff behind the scenes isn't affecting them, and that's gonna be hard for Kyler Murray, because after hearing that he refused to go into a game last year, and after hearing all this stuff come out, I believe when push comes to shove and when the games get tough and they lose a game here or there that they should have won, he's gonna fold and he's gonna start pointing fingers, and I think it's gonna be a big debacle. And I didn't even have him in the playoffs this season, so we'll see at the end of the day, or at the end of the season. But it's just not looking good there in Arizona. Our next one is DJ Metcalf finally got paid. Now, I was coming on here and I had a headline written out about hold-ins instead of holdouts, which we're going to talk about that in a second here. But DJ finally gets paid, and Seattle gives him a 3-year, $72 million contract with a $30 million signing bonus. This is huge for them. He said he wants to be there. It's his time to take over in Seattle. I truly believe that, but he's not going to be. He's going to just disappear. It's like going and playing for the Los Angeles Angels. You just disappear. Doesn't matter how good you are. You just are. No one even remembers who you are because you just lose. And that's what they're going to do this season. And good for him. He said he wants to be there in the city. That's great. But he finally gets signed. And you have usually what they're called holdouts, but now they're called hold-ins, because we all know now that if they hold out and don't show up to camp, they get fined a lot of money. Now they're hold-ins. You have Deebo Samuel as a hold-in. DJ Metcalf they show up to practice, but they don't participate, so they can't get fined. You can't really do anything to them. Deebo Samuel's still on there. Is there anybody I'm missing? I was thinking there was one more, but I can't think of who else. McLaurin was there, but he did get paid from Washington. I think Deebo Samuel might be the only hold-in is what they're calling him. Am I missing one?
Yeah, because I believe the guy from Dallas is playing, practicing. So anyhow, the Metcalf deal, you're exactly right. I love that he got paid. He deserves it. He's a really good wide receiver. But with the guys they got at quarterback, unless they somehow land Garoppolo or somehow do something to get more, they already said Geno Smith's got the lead in the deal, which that's, you got trash and hot trash. Geno Smith is the trash, and then Drew Lock is hot trash. So I hate to see a guy. I mean, yeah, he's going to get $72 million, but I hate to see the guy go and rot for 3 years and have. I mean, he might have some okay stats because they're going to be the only thing. I think Chris Carson having to retire hurts DK Metcalf tremendously, because they don't know now. They don't have a running game, so they're going to be kind of one-dimensional. So they can just kind of throw everybody over there on DK and lock him down and. I mean, he's fast and he has good hands and he'll get some numbers, but I just don't think he'll put up the numbers he's put up the last couple of years with Russ.
Definitely take a big hit. No one's picking him up for fantasy. I guarantee you that.
No, and if they do, it's going to be in the late. You know, you could get him in the 20 something round. You know, look, the bottom line is at the end of the day, the Debo deal. I think he's doing it right. I think he's getting screwed because they're trying to get rid of Jimmy to free up some cap space. That's why they haven't given him his money. That's clear because they're on the hook for $26 million for Garoppolo, and I don't think anybody's going to take that contract. I think they know. I think the league knows they have no choice but to cut him, and then you can give him your own deal, and it doesn't have to be $26 million. You can structure it however you want to, and so they still have fully guaranteed money. So they're going to have to take a massive cap hit to get rid of him. So I mean, if any team goes and trades for him, they'd be just. I mean, it would blow my mind because if you just wait another couple weeks, they have no choice but to let him go. Because they don't want to, they can't pay Debo if they don't.
Why did they wait so long? My question is that why did you wait so long to move on?
Because I'm guessing the only thing I could think that makes sense is the post June 1, but it's July now. So I don't know if you do it post June 1, you can take the salary cap and split it over 2 seasons, and it doesn't all accelerate into the this year's cap. But post June 1, it's July 31st. I don't know.
My thought was that maybe it took them this long to realize that Trey Lance is the guy, and if it took you this long to realize that, then maybe Trey Lance isn't the guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe they gave Lance an off-season program, and when he came back to camp, he checked all the boxes. They said, okay, this is what when you come back, this is what you need to do. You need to be this, and this. My bad.
What are we doing here? What's going on?
He was
the button.
So I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of is that Lance had an assignment in the offseason and checked all the boxes of that assignment, and they said, okay, we can move on. And
now
that doesn't make sense to me. That's not fair to Garoppolo to me, because I think if you give Garoppolo this ability to go seek the trade early in the offseason, I believe he finds one. But now that everybody has a home, I believe he doesn't. So
now
I think that's unfair to Garoppolo, and
I wonder what the organization feels, because I believe to me it seems like there's a split. With Lynch up there running it, he's probably, I don't know if he's the one that said, hey, we're going to take Trey Lance, and now he's like, we've got to move on, and maybe Shanahan wants to keep Garoppolo, or maybe Garoppolo's like, or maybe Shanahan was like, hey, I can win with Trey Lance, and Lynch is going, are you sure you want to get rid of Jimmy G? I think this decision right here, if it doesn't go very good, it will end someone's coaching or GM title.
So. I mean,
this is huge.
This is a fireable offense. If you go and go with Trey Lance and he wins 5 football games, somebody's going to have to answer for that.
And it will come out. It'll come out who wanted who, and
whoever didn't make the decision will throw the other one right under the bus and then back right up. Because if that's Lynch, if Lynch made the decision, Shanahan will throw those two. Neither of them hold back. Neither of them hold punches. So if one of those guys made the decision and the other one doesn't agree, they will back over him.
I believe I believe that, in my opinion, that's kind of what happened. Is either Shanahan or Lynch came and pounded on the table and said, hey, we can win with Trey, get rid of Jimmy. And the other one said, okay, but this is on you if it doesn't work. So Shanahan's fantastic. He's one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. He will find a way to win. They found a way to win last year with injuries. They found a way to go to the playoffs and beat the Dallas Cowboys. They found a way to go into Lambeau Field and beat the Green Bay Packers, and they almost found a way to go to the Super Bowl. I really like this coach. I think he can scheme and win with Trey Lance. I'm not a big fan of Jimmy, so I'm interested to see the Trey Lance era and see what's going to happen. But I believe there's some turmoil, not turmoil, but some different sides there, and obviously the Trey Lance side won out. And it's going to cost some heads to roll if it's not correct. But all right, well we have a couple of different injuries in the NFL. One we were kind of hinting at when we were talking about the Bucs. The Bucs center Jensen has suffered a knee injury, and I thought it was season ending, but it came out and said they're going to evaluate it in 2 months. Now, to me, this is just saying they're hopeful that they can look at it in 2 months and give you a better diagnosis. Maybe something's changed. I think this is a torn ACL, something of that, and I think he's going to miss probably the whole season, and that's going to affect the way Tom Brady plays, affect his coverage. And they're without Jensen, they lost their left guard to the Bengals. He went over there to protect Joe Cool. So there's some change up on the offensive line. And how do you beat Tom Brady? You get pressure on him. So that could affect them big time, especially if the center is not there. And we kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier. But this is a big blow for the offensive line and Tom Brady. Your mic's muted.
100% that it's a deal. It's a deal breaker because he was the guy that, like I said, he went out in the playoffs last year and it did not go well for a couple drives. Right up the gut, signals being missed, snaps being fumbled. When you're Brady and you have a guy that you trust, he better get some snaps in with the backup guy. Now the only good thing about it is it happened early in camp instead of late. So maybe they can either find somebody more capable than the guy they got as a backup, or Brady can get this guy ripped into shape and get him to where he needs to be before the opening day. But yeah, I think this is a huge blow for Tampa Bay.
Chase Young for Washington is going to miss some time. Now, I heard he was going to miss the first game of the season. I heard he's going to miss some time. I'm not sure yet what it is. He tore his ACL last year. He's still coming off of that injury. He's not completely 100%. So that's a big blow for Washington. He wasn't his rookie season. He was a beast. Last year, he didn't play too well. Then he got his ACL hurt. And so he's still dealing with those effects.
I think the telltale sign will be when the rosters get announced if he ends up on PUP. If he ends up where Gallup is, because I believe they kind of tore it in a similar time frame. So if he ends up and he's got to miss the first 4 or 5 weeks, that will hurt Washington tremendously. In a defensive standpoint, from a pass rush standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. Chase Young flies around the football field, and he's always around the football, and that definitely will be a blow to the Washington Commanders.
Definitely will. And we also have David Bakhtiari tore his ACL last year. He's left tackle for the Green Bay Packers. We thought all was right. We thought he was going to be on ready to start the season. Turns out he had a third procedure during the offseason we didn't really know about. He's now hurt again. There's no timetable on his return. I believe he will start on PUP. That's a big loss for the Green Bay Packers. We paid this guy all this money, and now he's hurt. I wish we could go back and not pay him. I wish we could go back and have some insurance to say if he doesn't play, because when he plays, he is, I think, the best left tackle in the league, top 3, definitely. There's no argument there. But when these guys get a little older and they start getting ACL injuries, it is difficult for them to come back. And my biggest complaint is, who's the Washington quarterback that blew out his leg, almost had it amputated? Alex Smith. Alex Smith almost had his leg amputated, almost lost his life, and he's going to return in the same amount of time as David Bakhtiari with a torn ACL. I just don't get what is going on. Did they mess up a surgery? What's happening? It's insane to me, but he's going to miss some time in Green Bay. Hopefully not too much, being the blind side there for Aaron Rodgers. But Green Bay typically does good at drafting offensive linemen, and so we did one heck of a job last season without him. So hopefully we can keep that up. But that's a big loss for Green Bay if he's going to miss some time.
Absolutely, it's a big loss. That's an anchor to his blind side. That's the guy that comes from the back. That Rogers, doesn't like getting hit, and he could be getting hit a lot more if deal. And then it also your run blocking is affected by that, so it affects Jones in opening up holes on that side. They're gonna have to change the entire scheme of the offense and go to quicker pass plays, and of course with the wide receiver being out. Adams used to run your slants and stuff like that. You don't really have that part of the offense now. So I think this could be a real big blow to them to not give Rodgers that extra second or two that he might need to get back there with these guys. And it's not something you're going to see in training camp because your own guys aren't going to go full blown after Rodgers and sack him and everything like that. So
and you got
he's not going to play. Rodgers will only play a quarter of the whole preseason if he plays at all. So you may not see it till week 1 to know how it really is going to affect the Green Bay Packers.
And then not only allow that extra second, but you were dealing with a bunch of young, uneducated in the game wide receivers. And sometimes it takes more time for them to get open downfield and do the things they do. I think Matt LaFleur will do a good job of, calling the game and calling them to the strengths of this team. But big loss, no argument there. And we're going to continue with injuries. We're just going to slip on over to the Major League Baseball as Mike Trout is dealing with a rare spinal condition. Now, I tried to look this up earlier, didn't give us too much details of what it is and how it affects him, but this is huge. He will be dealing with it for the rest of his career. He thinks people are kind of overblowing it. When you hear spinal condition, spinal injury, and spinal, it's never good. It's never a good thing. Obviously, he's been taking cortisone shots, but this is something that's going to reduce his career, possibly affect his numbers. It could cut his career short, and we'll just have to see how it affects him truly. And Mike Trout, to me, is probably I don't know if they want to say the best player that I've seen play baseball, but he is one of the best. He is probably the best hitter that I've ever seen play baseball. He's fantastic, and to see his numbers get cut short, to see his career get cut short, would be devastating to the game of baseball. My favorite player of all time is Ken Griffey Jr., and his career got cut way too short. Injuries affected him. He was injured, it seemed like, the last 8 to 7 years of his career, and it really cut short his greatness. But I hope this doesn't happen with Trout. I hope he kind of are overstating, overblowing things. But if he's got to take cortisone shots every time he goes out to bat or to each game, that's going to take a toll. And I hope not too much for them. I don't, the Angels are my division. I don't really care about that. The Rangers aren't doing much. But I just would hate to see a guy like this and to go out early because of something that he can't really control. So your mic's muted.
Yeah, when I read this, I have to wonder that if this isn't what's causing some of these other injuries that he's had over the years, the oblique injuries and the side and the back and the other things that he's had, is he compensating for this and injuring himself in other ways? And so yeah, it definitely absolutely is sad because I believe Griffey and him both could have passed Bonds. And it appears that they're not going to because of missing so many games. And so it's a bad look for baseball. But then again, Mike Trout's been the face of baseball, but yet doesn't do commercials, doesn't take on the face of baseball. And you see Shohei Ohtani trying to take over that role and trying to do things, but the Angels are listening to calls on him. And I just look at two guys that are very good baseball players. And like you said earlier, it's kind of where baseball goes to die. He just goes out and they're unheard of, and they haven't made the playoffs. And when they do make the playoffs, they fizzle out in round one, and they just can't put it together. And maybe this is why. Maybe by the end of the season, in game 162 in the playoffs, Trout just doesn't have anything left because his back is just killing him, and he's debilitated, and he can't get to the same amount of fly balls in the outfield that he could get to. He can't throw it as hard as he used to. Can't hit it as good as he has in the first deals. Maybe that all these games that he's missing is try to manage him to get to that point and be a little bit fresher for the playoffs. But yeah, when I read this, it was absolutely devastating for the game because you don't want the one of your top focuses of baseball to be out and missing games. It's no good.
And if I'm a Los Angeles Angels fan and you're telling me you're willing to deal the Babe Ruth of our generation, that's an all-out boycott for me. That says I've given up. I don't care. That is an absolute travesty if he gets traded. And if I'm any other team in baseball, I'm giving the farmhouse for this guy because he's an absolute beast. And we talked about it a little bit last episode as well. Juan Soto's there as well, trying to be traded. So we're trying to see if these guys are going to be traded, pretty soon here. The Rangers are back into talks. They've apparently picked up the phone call to Washington about Juan Soto. So they're in. They gave a list that they're in the top 5 teams possibilities to get him. I don't know if it happens, but
the Rangers are 7.
We'd have to get a lot of them. We'd have to give up a lot of it to get him.
No, Soto's going to take a haul that
on that list.
Soto is going to take a haul. Whoever made that list should be fired. Soto's going to take a haul that nobody's going to pay. I just don't believe he gets moved because Washington's mad that this got out somehow. They don't even know how it got out. They don't want it out. They want him there. They want him. That's why they offered him $400 and something million for 15 years. But the Angels have come out and said they want the top 4 prospects in whoever's farm system that they go to. So, just take the Rangers, for example. Leiter, Rocker, and 2 other guys are going to be, where the starting point for Ohtani is. And so, granted, he's great, and he'll give you 100 innings, and he'll give you 30 homers, 40 homers, but he's one guy. And so, I don't know if any guy's worth your top 4 picks yeah. Because he could turn around tomorrow and need Tommy John. He could turn around tomorrow and not be able to hit. And you're out your whole farm system. So
I got a good question for you, and I wish Jeff was on still. I don't think he is, but would you rather have Juan Soto or Aaron Judge? And I think the easy answer is Juan Soto.
No.
First of all, he's 23. He's got 8 years younger than Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge's injury history is worries me. But I would take Juan Soto just because of the age over Aaron Judge, in my opinion.
I don't know. I just Judge has come into the league and taken it by storm. I know that a lot of people disagree with me, but I personally think when he came in the league, he wasn't, but he's made himself one of the top right fielders in the game. And he has an arm like a cannon. He hits, he runs, he's
we talking Judge?
Yeah. I just think, Soto's great.
He's not as good as a defender as Judge.
No, he's not. And offensively, power-wise, he's not. He'll hit for average, but I bet Soto doesn't have 25 homers this year. And it just doesn't, to me.
It might be the wrong season to compare it to because one's got 40 home runs.
Yeah, and I just think Judge is getting better. And now, granted, you
He's
have
older.
to take into
His
consideration where
injuries.
Judge plays.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those? But
I don't think
I don't think if you watch these homers, I think they'd have been out of Yellowstone. I don't think it would have mattered where he would have hit them. He's hitting the back wall, and the ball's still on the upper trajectory, and I don't know.
That's a tough one. I go with Soto because he's 8 years younger.
But he's had some injury history.
That's a big key into that for me. I was waiting for Jeff to jump in and be like, Aaron Judge, definitely. But well, guys, I think that's going to wrap this episode up. We gave you our Super Bowl predictions. We both have the Bills going to the Super Bowl and winning it. I hope I'm wrong because I want the Green Bay Packers to win it, but I'm sure Craig wants his Dallas Cowboys to win it. But we'll see what happens, and it's going to be an interesting year. The NFL always is interesting. You can never predict it. I came pretty close last year when I did the Survivor game. I did win it, but I was like 8-0 in the first 8 weeks. I'm like, yes. And then I lost because the Ravens. I lost 1 week because the Ravens lost to the Miami Dolphins and had to buy back in. But all right, guys. Well, that's gonna be episode today. We have this episode 140, the Outspoken Sportscast. It's been an interesting week at work. I forgot about what's in your locker, Craig. What's in your locker this weekend?
Oh, yeah, just Garth Brooks tomorrow. We're going to work in the morning and knock out a little route and then get ready to go to the concert tomorrow night. And hopefully it is as epic as I've heard that it's supposed to be, and everything goes the way it's supposed to go. And I just hopefully it is the best show that I've seen, and it's worth every deal to get the tickets. So I look forward to it. It's a bucket list deal, and to be in the stadium and be around that. I just think it's I don't know. I think that's what I'm looking forward to.
I've been to Garth Brooks when he was younger, and if it's anything like it, it'll be fantastic. So. Well, I got really pretty much nothing that's going on this weekend. The wife's going out to family dinner tomorrow. I got the kids all day. I got to work tomorrow. I'm running a route I've never ran before, even on a regular day. So that ought to be fun. Let's see. I'm going to start Better Call Saul. I just watched Breaking Bad, so I'm going to start Better Call Saul and get into that. I've been playing more Call of Duty lately. Doing pretty good. I might say so myself.
I'm what they call a bullet sponge.
A bullet sponge. You got through your 2 weeks without eating a gun with Jason, so that's good.
It was a photo finish.
Photo finish.
Yeah.
Oh man, you came in early too, and then y'all broke down. And I was like, oh man, and then yeah. We have had an interesting week at Waste Connections. I don't know if we want to share that here live with everybody, but it's been one heck of a week, and we need a nice, relaxing weekend. I'm going to take the kids out somewhere Sunday. I'm not sure where. Probably go to the movies. I haven't done anything with them in a while, so I need to do my dad duties and take them out to the movies and somewhere to eat.
I also have family in town too, so my mom's sisters are both here. So I'm going to run out there and see them Sunday before I head to the bowling alley. So
nice. All right, guys. Well, that's what's in our locker. We talked a lot about our predictions this season. We're going to get in, next week, hopefully get into some more NFL news. I don't know what's going on with the Deshaun Watson news. We've heard nothing from that yet. What a debacle.
Not even a rumor,
not even a rumor. It's been as dry as Texas has been this year, which we did get some sprinkles today. It thundered and we got like 5 seconds to pour down, and now it's just humid and hot.
Burleson's got a bubble around it. It was just right around it.
Ridiculous. All right, guys, that's your episode today. Hopefully you liked it. We missed Kat today. We didn't see Kat at all anywhere. Austin hasn't been on a while. We'll have to bust his balls at work about that. But guys, feel free to like us, subscribe, watch us live. Go watch or go listen to our podcast show. Or on social media and everything else, guys. God bless, and remember, keep it outspoken.